Growing up, Squidward was a character that as kids we weren't able to identify with. He was the opposite of the fun, jolly, energetic kind of person most kids look for and gravitate towards when watching cartoons. He always seemed to be a bit of a downer and would often put a damper on the mood of things. He had a routine kind of life where he did the same things every day, and he only ever really seemed happy about playing the clarinet. He was a no-nonsense kind of person who just didn't like or was ever in the mood for shenanigans, unlike other characters like SpongeBob or Patrick. In fact, he hated the antics that they would get up to, especially when it disturbed his peace, which was pretty much all the time. But Squidward wasn't just like that for no reason. It was easy to just overlook most of his actions, or not care to analyze why he was the way he was or read into it as a kid, since you're just watching the show for laughs and giggles. We just see Squidward as a grumpy guy who hated fun, but you grow up to realize that his character was so much more than that, and you understand the reason why he was like that. This video isn't really about doing a deep dive into his character or dissecting it. This is more so about understanding him more now because I'm able to relate to his life. When you're a child, most adults seem like they're around to make sure you're not having too much fun. It feels like they nag or they make it hard for you to enjoy things. And while pretty much everyone in the show is an adult, Squidward is the only one who really acts this way. Sometimes you even forget that SpongeBob is an adult since he doesn't ever really act like one. SpongeBob has that kind of carefree spirit and is always super optimistic. He still sees life through the eyes of a child, which isn't a bad thing. As you get older, it's something you kind of wish you were still able to do. But it's something that's really hard for you to do because life doesn't allow it. For Squidward, it was like that. He has a job he hates, where he clearly doesn't get paid enough and hates to be at. He has to interact with people he doesn't like. He doesn't really have many friends. His career aspirations aren't going very well, and he just isn't very happy and doesn't get to enjoy many things.
What seems to be the problem, Mr. Tentacles?
It all started when I was born.
Well, that's something you aren't able to relate to when you're a child. As an adult, you get it. You don't have to put yourself in Squidward's shoes or try to see things from his perspective because you already do. You kinda get to experience for yourself what it's like living as an adult. Most people may now have a job they don't really like or don't exactly enjoy but need. There might be no time for fun or for friends. The depiction of Squidward's life is just a fraction of what it's really like as an adult in the world today, especially because of how much things continue to change and not for the better. Dreams you might have had as a child probably seem like a thing of the past. Adulthood obviously changes your outlook on life, and Squidward went through the motions in his day-to-day life, and in his free time really just seemed like he wanted peace and quiet, which he rarely ever could get with SpongeBob and Patrick around. An episode that focuses a lot on Squidward's sadness shows him trying to create a happy memory after realizing he doesn't have any and not being able to. It shows the side of Squidward that makes a lot of his actions make sense. Squidward trying and failing to get happy is something a lot of people may have experience with, and it can be hard to figure out the reason why. At different times he says things that shows how unhappy he is with his life. He'd make comments about being just over it. There's so much that Squidward endures and goes through that at that point in time watching as a child seemed funny or unimportant, but these were all things that if they happened to us in real life would have us just as fed up as he was. Squidward had his day ruined on several occasions, and as someone who does love SpongeBob, even I feel annoyed by some of the things that he do. I know that having him as a neighbor would be a nightmare, and on top of that, he has to see him at work every day. Well, scratch that, not just see him at work every day, he has to tolerate him being right over his shoulder and in his ear for the whole workday. So his annoying coworker also doubles as his annoying neighbor. SpongeBob definitely drove him crazy. A really hard scene to watch, I think, for everyone, is the infamous toenail scene where Squidward is trying to rearrange furniture and redecorate his house with SpongeBob's help to be on an episode of House Fancy. And well, we all know what happens there. It's still hard for me to watch that scene. I have to look away every time. Though it doesn't make up for all the ways he remains a nuisance to Squidward, the times when SpongeBob actually tries to help him is really sweet. You know he's coming from a good place, and even though the end result is usually bad, he's kind of the only person who's ever really done this for Squidward. Squidward not being able to enjoy any of the good things that happen for him because they never last, or they always end up ruined, is definitely one of the most relatable things about this character's life. So it's really no wonder that in almost every other scene he looks defeated. His actions and feelings are justified because he has every reason to be fed up with everything and everyone around him. When I watch the show now, I find myself rooting for Squidward and wanting him to have even the least bit of peace or happiness. Life can change so much about you as an adult and how you view different situations. We all have days where we don't feel very happy with our lives or the way things might be going for us. But if you feel like Squidward some days, that's perfectly fine. It's okay to not always be happy. As long as you're alive, you still have the chance to change things. And if you take anything from Squidward, let it be that you don't give up on your passions or your dreams. Squidward might not have had many options and opportunities to change things for himself, but whenever he did get the chance, he always put himself out there and took advantage of the opportunities that he had. That's something we can all do for ourselves as well in our own lives. Find things that make us feel the happiest and feel at peace. Things that may be fulfilling, or maybe something you've wanted to do that's a part of a dream that you've always had. That's all for now. Goodbye and stay safe.